again, it is Crew Call, presented by Flow Racing, the home of NASCAR Roots, your virtual short track, NASCAR Roots, and so much more. You can find out more information at flowracing.com. We are Crew Call going into the garage area and talking to the folks that make these cars go around in circles really, really fast. Today, we're just going to keep it here in studio. Steve Post, pit reporter for Motor Racing Network, and our MRN analyst, a 25-time winning crew chief, including a championship with Joey Logano, Todd Gordon. Hello, Todd. How are you?
I'm great.
Fantastic.
What a weekend to come off of. What a great weekend to go into. I mean, this is the epitome of what our season's about.
Really, truly is. And what we're going to do on the show, we're just going to break down each of the three national tours, team by team. We're going to do that here in just a little bit. But let's look back at Martinsville. I want to talk first off about the guy who won the race.
Yeah.
Christopher Bell, Adam Stevens. We raved about the performance at the Roval to go from the round of 12 to the round of 8. Mm-hmm. Likewise, this team is just really, really solid when it comes to clutch moments.
Yeah, definitely. I thought one of the two best cars all day long. You saw that lap 50. Lap 50 was about when it started to turn on, and the 20 car and the 11 car both marched their way forward. And their long run speed was really good. Kudos to the pit crew. Earlier in the season, the 20 cars pit crew took a lot of chastising because they lost spots. They gave up positions. They gave up spots on pit road. Lap 323, they came down pit road third and left first. And that was the flip. That was the flip where they took control of the race away from their teammate, Denny Hamlin. Denny's pit crew dropped him from first to fourth, and they got themselves in position and really worked the race from there. Got that late caution. I thought Adam Stevens made the right call. Don't put your guy that's the best car here on defense. Put him on 4 tires, let him go do his thing, and it worked out great.
Which is somewhat comparable. It was 4 tires at Charlotte. It was a little bit more dramatic, I think. It was a little bit more
Everybody
dramatic.
Else stayed out,
right?
And he came and got tires.
It was more dramatic, but it was the same philosophy. We're good. Let's keep ourselves.
Let's play offense, not defense.
Right.
And honestly, you really look at the top 10 in that last restart. It was everybody made the right call.
Yeah.
It was awesome. I mean, what a great weekend it was. But you had Chase Briscoe. I think had the penalty early and got buried. It was the only call they had.
Right. Yeah, they weren't going to run from 10th to 1st.
Ironically, the 41 car stayed out with them.
Right. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
which is 100%. That's what you do.
That's what you do. Right. Exactly.
So I'm not picking. I just having a little fun with that
funny,
one.
Which is ironic with the 41 car, but that's just the strategy that they played was in line with the strategy their teammate played.
Yes. 24 stayed out or took 2.
Right. Well, I like that call, too.
Yeah, they needed a manufacturer position. The 6 car, out of the playoffs, but wants a win. He took 2. The 5 car, really, ended up second on 2.
Right. Yeah.
And then you had the rest of the guys, the Ryan Blaney, the Christopher Bell, that were needed to win.
Yeah.
And even Denny, who needed to continue to march forward, they took 4. And played offense. Yeah. What a great race. A great race.
Phenomenal racing at the end of that race. Just fantastic race. Christopher Bell is rolling across the start-finish line, ready to claim his spot at Phoenix. And in turn number 3, Ross Chastain did a move. Now, you do another podcast over with NASCAR with Alan Cavana and Steve Letarte, and this move had been pondered by some folks in the past, had it?
Yeah. Not at Martinsville.
Not at
Martinsville. And I've done a little more digging, and there wasn't the research. That's just Ross.
See, there's the thing, because you had talked about, you and Joey had done some simulation.
So when you go back and I said in that one, I said 2018. I actually thought a little deeper into it, and you go back 2014, the first year that we had this playoff system where we had a cutoff race at Phoenix that puts the championship 4. Ryan Newman goes down into what was then turn 3 and uses up Kyle Larson to get one more spot to get himself transferred through to the championship 4.
Correct.
And you come away from that, and that's when you realize this is the moment that you will do anything to put yourself in a championship bid. This is the race that you'll do anything. So then we came back away from that and said, what else could you do? And we were at the simulator. Well, I don't know. I don't think it was my idea. I think it was Joey's. But like, what happens if you just lay this thing up on a wall and just high side it? Right. So we played with it, and there was speed there. Now this is back when what is now turns 1 and 2 was turns 3 and 4 before the reconfiguration, right. and there was speed to doing it. I mean, from the simulator, we've never done it on a racetrack, but
because there's a lot that can go wrong.
There's a ton that can go wrong, and how that safer barrier exits onto the straightaway. I mean, it was like a 50-50 whether you wrecked coming off the safer barrier.
Yeah, because it's an abrupt. It's not a 90-degree corner, but there's a corner there. There's an angle to it.
We looked at it enough to have to have the discussion of if we get in a situation,
would we consider pulling?
And Joey's like, I don't have the guts to do that on my own. You're going to have to help. You're going to have to. So we came up with a code word for it.
Right.
Like, we got to do this, and to have them do it. So we looked at it back then. Then when they reconfigured, we looked at it the other way. It's harder now.
Yeah.
The entry to it's really, really tough into what is now turn 3. And there's more banking. So there's more center corner speed for the guy in the regular line.
The guy in the regular line.
That's one of the pieces. When Steve Letarte looked back at it, Ross Chastain was doing 70 miles an hour more speed than the cars running the racing group in the middle of the corner. Yeah. It was ridiculous. And I'd never thought about it. We'd never looked back to Martinsville. But I saw it, it was like, yeah, we all talked about this at Phoenix.
But to me, because just listening to Phil Surgeon, the shock in his voice, that was not a simulated. That was a Ross. That was a Ross saying him and his brother Chad played video games and they tried it. And I wonder if it would work, putting it in the back of his mind and having that moment. And I'll be darned, it worked.
This is one of those moves that will be played epically for decades.
Yeah.
I mean, this goes back to the pass in the grass, which really wasn't a pass.
Pass, right.
The Ricky Craven and Kurt Busch Darlington.
Yeah.
I mean, this is...
I think it was Jeff Gluck said that Bobby Ellison is asked about the fight at Daytona for the rest of his life. Ross Chastain is going to be asked about the move at Martinsville for the rest of his life.
Oh, and now let's not get far ahead of ourselves, but if he executes this weekend,
oh my gosh,
it's the defining moment of his championship. If he were to go through and end up winning, but it would become the defining moment of his championship if he gets to that point. Now that's a whole if. Big capital I, capital F.
Right. Fascinating stuff and just a whole ton of energy into Phoenix, which is great. The whole sports world took a pause from NFL football, NBA basketball, World Series baseball, and everything else, and said, "Oh my God!" And the whole world will be maybe not tuned in to MRN or NBC on Sunday afternoon, but will be following social media, if nothing else, to see what this Chastain kid does next.
I'm going to butcher the name here, but Alonso, Fernando Alonso.
Oh, Fernando Alonso, yeah.
Tweeted about this. And I mean, just we've all seen it and thought it. You actually did it. Like he threw out a tweet to Ross Chastain that,
Right. Kudos, yeah.
Yeah, you're getting recognition from world racing authorities.
Yeah.
This is huge.
Yeah, it really is.
This is huge for the sport. It's huge for Ross. What a great time to be a part of. And I was finishing driving down the road listening to MRN broadcast, and I thought you guys did a phenomenal job.
I am telling you, I listened. Someone did the whole video thing where they put the last 5 laps. Dave Moody, Alex Hayden, and Jeff Striegel absolutely nailed the call of Ross passing a car, Denny passing 2 cars, Ross passing a car. Jeff, and this is inside baseball radio stuff, Jeff did a perfect call of Christopher Bell to the line. And the perfect co-host in the booth is watching what else is going on, which was Alex. And as soon as Jeff took a pause, Alex was able to tell that. I mean, Alex, Jeff, and Dave in the final stretch drive, the call was phenomenal. It's just, I sit back and I just marvel at it, and I know I'm a homer for that and everything else, but it was just, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right. But I mean, it was fun. And then the reaction, I don't know, 50,000 people there, 60,000. I don't know how many people that place seats. I've lost count of that. To have that many people in sheer disbelief was a phenomenal feeling. Phenomenal feeling.
On Twitter, I think I've watched this thing over 100 times.
I know I have.
And I still want to say, quit the fast forward. Because it looks like it's just a fast forward.
Yeah. So we were buzzing when we left the track on Sunday. We were buzzing when we left the track on Saturday as well.
Yeah. In a different way.
A different way. Ty Gibbs, Brandon Jones, Joe Gibbs Racing, Xfinity Series. I can't imagine how awkward Monday morning was for those Xfinity teams to show up over in Huntersville at Joe Gibbs Racing.
Yeah, I feel bad for everybody but the driver of the 54.
Yeah.
Honestly, I do. The kid's got talent. He's just not proven he's not ready. Yeah. Tough situation. You've got to be aware. You're the stage points he had, he's guaranteed through. TV'd already played it. I'm sure the spotters let him know. And big picture, you got an opportunity for your organization to have 2 cars in a championship 4. Now I understand you're not going to give up a win. You're not going to back up and give up a win. You're not going to give up a grandfather clock.
Get that.
I get that. But you're coming to last lap and you're 3 car lengths back. You're not leading the race, and I'm not asking you to lead the race to pull over and let a guy pass you. I'm just asking you not to wreck a guy.
Yeah.
And he wrecked a guy. He can say whatever he wants. He wrecked a guy.
Yeah.
And it's just he's just not mature enough to handle the situation.
Exactly.
That's my take on it.
Yeah.
Kid's got talent, but he's not ready.
No, exactly. And then there's, Jeff Mendering, the crew chief on the 19th, a buddy of mine going back to Concord Speedway. And I'm just like, what do you say? What do you do? Brandon Jones, oh my gosh, Brandon Jones.
He's taking the high road.
Yes.
And definitely.
Yeah. He is Brandon Jones, and he's moving to junior motorsports, which is always a popular move in the Xfinity Series. Mm-hmm. Brandon Jones, the high road junior motorsports, his stock is really in a good spot right now.
Yeah.
It really truly is.
Yeah.
Ty Gibbs, I don't know. And like I said, the guys, and the guys that work on all the cars there,
all of them. It creates dissension within the shop. It's just a tough situation. Yeah. And this has repercussions that are deep within.
Yes, absolutely.
It's not only, and you look at it, and people don't. I don't know if you see it, but the financial implications of not having 2 in the championship 4.
Yeah.
There's a hit there for the organization. The fact that now the shop has to pick sides because somebody dumped another guy. That creates separation. The other piece, Brandon Jones' dad is a major part of one of your Cup sponsorships.
Right.
You've created friction within the Cup program.
Yeah, within the Cup program.
Maybe not. I'm speaking on the outside, but that's the perception of the things that
Brandon's
I think have to be
tied
considered
into
here.
the Ream Company, okay? You have a Cup Series driver, a future teammate, Denny Hamlin, tweeting, "I miss JD Gibbs." So you have one of his teammates next year already sounding some form of alarms.
Yeah.
It's a mess.
I can only speak for myself, but if I'm Joe or Coy, I'm finding somebody to drive the 18 car next year.
Putting someone else in that car.
I'm leaving the kid down in Xfinity. Joe said it right along. We're going to leave him there because he's not ready. Well, he's proven he's not ready.
Right.
There's been multiple situations this year. This isn't the only one. The pit road incident with the
pit road one.
That was scary. He's not mentally capable at this point of handling this. Mm-hmm. My opinion. Yep. Todd's opinion. That's all that is. But he's put his family in a pretty big pickle and a whole organization.
Yeah.
And we'll see how he comes out of it. But he's done this multiple times, and
keeps going back.
He keeps going back.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see what happens with it, that's for sure. It will all unfold this weekend at Phoenix with the Xfinity Series, the Truck Series, and the Cup Series. And that's what we're going to do here today on Crew Call. We're going to step away. When we come back, we are going to break down each of the 3 championship races, talk about drivers, talk about some crew chiefs, and kind of set the table for Ford Championship Weekend. Ford did such a good job of branding. How many years has it not been Ford Championship Weekend? And about said Ford Championship Weekend there. We're going to set the table for that. Before we do that, though, and before we step away, we'd like to invite you to subscribe to Flow Racing, the home of NASCAR roots. Catch NASCAR Wheel and Modifieds, ARCA Menard Series, Pinty's, and NASCAR Weekly Racing on Flow Racing with over 1,300 events live and on demand. Headliner this week, the ARCA Menards West Series race from Phoenix, Friday afternoon. 2:30. Man, skip out of the office a little early on Friday. Get championship weekend started. We're gonna crown a champion there in the ARCA Menards West Series. I also want to note this one coming up on Saturday, November 19th, Florence Motor Speedway, the Charlie Powell Memorial. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and others. Jr. unveiled his car yesterday over at Bass Pro Shops. It's the Bass Pro Shop anniversary gold number 3 car. Whoo, man, that thing looks good. It really does. Looks good. And there's a lot of energy in late model stock racing right now. Dale's going to run it there, and then Josh Berry's going to run it the week after that at Southern National at a big race down there. And but that November 19th race will be on Flow as well. So you can subscribe now. Find out more information at www.flowracing.com/go MRN. Stay with us. We'll set you up for championship weekend in just a moment. Welcome back. It is Crew Call here on the Motor Racing Network, presented by Flow Racing, the home of NASCAR roots. Todd Gordon and Steve Post setting you up for championship weekend out at Phoenix International Raceway. And let's talk about this. Let's talk a little bit about the Cup Series, kind of break it down team by team, when the case for each of these teams, and when you think of your former team, Team Penske, Joey Logano, Paul Wolfe, what types of things do you have in your checkoff list of that team?
I'm going to start with the fact that I can make arguments for all 4 cars.
Right.
I mean, honestly, I could.
I
think this is going to be a great championship to watch how it unfolds. I look at, as we go down through, talk about Joey Logano. I look back at the year, finished 8th in the spring, had a decent run there. And I put a little focus on Worldwide Technology Raceway. We used to call it Gateway. Entered onto the Cup schedule this year, but another place, 1.25 miles, I think it is. But another place kind of like Phoenix that's got 2 different ends. Mm-hmm. It's got a flat, kind of bigger arc, flat corner of 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 is kind of like it's tighter, turns harder. It's got some Phoenix characteristics. Now, more tire fall off, not a repave like we've been, but Joey won there. I think that's a big thing. The Fords were strong there. I thought Team Penske was strong there. And the other piece that I look at when I look at this group, I got to put Joey as my favorite. There's a little sentimental reason for that.
Sure, absolutely.
But the reason I would put it is they won Vegas. Paul Wolfe has had 2 weeks, no stress, no focus on how we get through.
Right.
How am I going to implement this 50-minute practice? It's a different practice set because you got to practice and you get the cars back. That's the biggest thing. Like, we've had 20-minute practices, but it's post-tack. So you never got the car back. You could change wedge. You could change ride heights. Not really much else you could change. Now you've got to, you could change cambers. You can change springs. You can change bars. There's a lot of things that you can change in this practice because you get the cars back to work on them and then get them ready to race. So Paul's had a couple weeks to think about what that process is. When they go to the simulator, when they get to 7-post, to work on 7-post stuff for Phoenix.
Right.
Joey's talked about they're not a simulator team, but they're still doing all the work to work towards Phoenix. And I think that's got to be good for that group.
To build a game plan for that 50-minute practice session, to build a game plan to go out there for the weekend.
And they've got really good teammates that they can lean on for that practice session to get more information out of. It's one of the things that when we won a championship in 18, what was really good for us was we were the only Team Penske car in the final 8. And then we won Martinsville, the first race of it.
That put all of Team Penske for a month.
Right. Every person at Team Penske had one focus. That was our Homestead car.
Wow.
Now Paul's not had that because Ryan Blaney was still in the hunt here. But within his piece, he's that way. And now this week, it's all on the 22 team. Yeah. And I think that's a benefit as well.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. Joey Logano in the playoffs, looking for a second championship. When you look at Paul is a championship-winning crew chief, won in 2012 with Brad Keselowski.
And they were in this 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago they were in this scenario as well.
Yeah.
So who's next?
Christopher Bell.
Christopher Bell. All right.
I just went off of what NASCAR.com had.
The way we did our list, okay, he had it very analytical. He went on the way NASCAR.com had it. I'm sitting there saying, let's see, who's the Penske driver?
If I went off my head, I'd probably screw something up.
Okay, so. Christopher Bell. What's the upside here?
Oh, well,
I mean, Or you've not been?
I don't know. Did we look at the last two cutoff races that were must-win situations? And oh, by the way, they won.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know that it's necessary, but every playoff race we've had in this format, you've had to win to be the champion.
Right.
Now, this year of all years, we've had so many different things. It may not.
This could be the year.
But this, I feel like, is a third must-win situation for the 20 team. And really, why wouldn't they? Right? Why wouldn't they?
What have they shown us in the last 6 weeks that would lead you to believe they can't go out there and win?
Or even let's just go back to midsummer. Their win that got them into the championship. They started the year off like they were 30th in points, like 5 races in. I don't know if it was 30th, but they were buried in points.
Right.
And then he and Adam, and they had pit crew issues. We talked about that in the opening there, and cost them some situations. They went to New Hampshire. They dominated. Another 1 mile, kind of flat racetrack.
Yeah.
He went to Richmond. He finished second and just about won that thing. Like, was really close there. So, and that's two places we run the same tire at Phoenix that we ran at those two racetracks.
Yeah, you're right.
Talked to Adam earlier this week. I think Adam Stevens is future Hall of Famer. He's got 2 championships already in his pocket.
Right, with Kyle Busch.
And this relationship's going to, he told me he'd bet everything in his future and in his past on, if he could put that because we can't bet NASCAR on NASCAR. But he said if I could, I'd put every future paycheck I've got, I'd wager it against, on Christopher Bell winning a championship. Not saying it'll be this year, but it's going to happen.
But Christopher Bell will be a Cup Series
and I think that relationship is going to be pretty special. And to the point, Adam's won 2 championships. He's done it with Kyle twice.
Right. I
think he's in a great position to fight forward with Christopher Bell.
I think so too.
Your thoughts?
I'm the same way. I think when I look at this, I think I'm with you on Joey probably being the favorite. To me, the factor is the 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Wolf is a great crew chief, and you give Paul Wolf 2 weeks, and you're good. Part of me leans toward Christopher, and the part that leans toward Christopher is Adam Stevens.
Yeah.
I have so much belief in Adam Stevens. And they've done nothing over the last, they started the playoffs. They were the top point getter in the first round of the playoffs. And then they had some struggles the first 2 races. But then what they did at the Roval and Phoenix, it's like, if I'm going with Bell, a lot of it is on Adam Stevens. I just believe in Adam Stevens. And I think Christopher Bell has evolved into a premier Cup Series race car driver. When he's a guy that grew up doing 25-lap races. We've seen a guy that knows where to be and to get that car to the finish. At Loudon was a dominating performance, but he stayed in the game as a driver. A driver can give this his way. We talk about crew chiefs, we talk about strategy, we talk about pit crews. Christopher Bell could have given the Roval away at a lot of points during it. Christopher Bell could have given away Martinsville. That has become a very savvy finish-the-deal race car driver with a crew chief that knows how to finish the deal as well.
And I believe in momentum. And we talked about the struggles that this pit crew had earlier in the year. They made a couple of position changes, actually swapped people with, I think, Bubba Wallace's program within the JGR family. And they've built momentum.
Yeah, they have.
The pit crew won them the race last week.
Yes.
Christopher Bell drove his guts out at the end. The pit crew put him in
race.
position.
They flipped the race.
Control the race. And momentum's a big thing. Those guys they're on top of the world. I mean, when you look at it, Adam Stevens is going to do a great job here. And I'm sure that he's down there patting those guys on the back saying, you're proving that you're the guys, right? Giving them the confidence because it's going to come down here. You're going to have to perform on pit road here.
Last year was a pit stop with Kyle Larson.
Kyle Larson was not the best car last year. His pit crew executed, put him out first, and he won.
And that 20 team is knocking him out right now.
It's going to be fun to watch.
Fun to watch, that's for sure.
Now we're 2 through.
Quietly, which I don't even know how the most popular driver in the sport driving for Hendrick Motorsports can be quiet. But quietly, we have Chase Elliott back here at Phoenix where they were at in 2020. Same combination, Alan Gustafson, Chase Elliott, and scored the win. The upside, the challenges, the good, the bad. What's the case for Chase Elliott?
Yeah, I would say my least favorite of the 4.
Really? Okay.
I would, but I said I'd make an argument for all 4. If you want to go to the good, he ran top 2 half the race in the spring.
Yeah.
And really, if it weren't for, he spun out late. I think lap 305, 7 to go, he spun out and up an 11th place finish. He finished second at New Hampshire to Christopher Bell. Another flat place. It matters. He's not been stellar lately, but he's not had to be. He 5 wins in the regular season. He had such a points buffer
put themselves in a spot
that they could play. They could almost play defensively. He and Allen have done this before.
Right. That's
2020, they failed. I mean, I remember this because I was watching it as well. They failed Tech, I think, 3 times, had to start at the back.
That's right.
And drove his way into the, I said, well, we'll see where it goes. I mean, by the comp caution, I think he was in the top 10.
Yeah.
They've done a great job of this in the past, and they know how to do it. I just haven't seen that. They had the magic there at the end of the summer.
Yeah,
it was incredible.
Yeah, you're just like pencil them in, let's go. Yeah,
and it's kind of faded away. We'll see where that comes back. I know that Allen's really good at it.
Yeah,
I mean, this duo won a championship 2 years ago. They've been that perennial. I think they'll be in it. They're not in the owners' championship side of it.
Yeah,
Ross Chastain got him in a situation. When you look at this, Kyle Larson.
Right.
I want to throw that one in.
Let's
talk about it. And then we're going to come back to the other one.
Right, exactly. The other one.
Yes, the other one.
Yeah, we get in NASCAR world, we get into this awkward, and a lot of times it's Sunday afternoon Cup coverage where it's like, oh, the Owners' Championship. Nobody understands it, okay?
And it's always been the same because the drivers stay in the same cars.
Right, absolutely, yeah.
Kurt Busch's concussion and withdrawing from has created a situation where we've got different cars in the Owners' Championship pool than we did in the Drivers' Championship pool.
Yeah. So why is the Owners' Championship so important?
Because that's what, when you talk about charters and all the things that the owners have kind of equity in, the financial piece and the charter financial piece is tied to the Owners' Championship.
Wow. So the
and I
owner,
would I would think that,
this makes financially for Hendrick Motorsports, that Owners' Championship would be huge.
Yes. Yeah. Chase winning a Drivers' Championship or Kyle winning the Owners' Championship, I believe, from what I understand, there's a much bigger implication to Kyle winning the Owners' Championship.
From a financial perspective, set aside souvenirs and T-shirt sales and everything like that. The charter, the agreement, the revenue that comes in from the agreement
is tied to the owners.
So
I would think it's tied to the Owners' Championship. So, in a lot of ways, we look at this, and I've been part of the championship for multiple times, and you kind of get a little grace from everybody else because nobody else wants to be that guy.
Yeah. Don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy, right? I don't want to be the guy that got into it. But Kyle Larson isn't right. He's one of the. He's kind of the asterisk.
Yeah, because he is.
He can be the guy because he's racing for a championship, so the Owners' Championship, which is the big money side.
We have 5 guys. We have 5 guys then that are going to be extended a little grace. And going to be maybe not extending grace as much grace to the other ones.
And he's been on a roll.
Yeah, he's been good. Man, he's been good. Second at Martinsville to him was like, he was dumbfounded that he finished second at Martinsville because that's been a struggle bus for him. So.
He won here last year.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, won the champion.
Yeah. They're going to a great place for him. Yeah, I think that could be special. The one that we haven't talked about.
Yes, absolutely. Ross Chastain, Trackhouse Racing, Phil Surgeon.
Yeah. Got good and bad on that one as well.
Yeah.
Spring race, he worked forward all day long, finished second.
He was in that battle with Chase Briscoe. They were in that battle.
He was there.
Yeah.
It was the two of them. Last week, he showed he's willing to do whatever it takes.
I don't think you're going to question the driver.
No?
I don't think you're going to question the driver taking a chance. I think that he'll take a chance.
4 top 5s in the last 5 playoff races. I actually go ahead.
No, go ahead. Well, I'll get to this. We talked about to the midpoint of the season how good Trackhouse was.
Yep.
And then we stopped talking about it because their numbers kind of diminished.
I felt like when we entered the playoffs, and I made this prediction and I was utterly wrong, but I felt like the 99 car would be the car that carried through for Trackhouse. I didn't see that the one car, with the turmoil he'd had with Denny and the different things, it kind of, the last 10 races of the regular season, Ross didn't really show what he showed out of the first 16 races. Right. And I don't know if it was 15 and 11 or what, but it was the last third of the regular season. I didn't think that Ross was going to be long for the playoffs. I felt like he he'd make the round of 12. I didn't think he'd go farther than that. I thought the 99 had a bigger, but as soon as the playoffs hit, they've turned the switch back on, and they've done a great job of it. And it's incredible. The drawback to this, you talked about it.
Right.
Ross Chastain, Phil Surgeon, never been here before.
Right.
And I don't mean everybody has to have a first, but you don't know what the situation's like. You don't know what the racing's like until you've been there and experienced it. That I think is a little bit of a drawback for them, but they got a ton of momentum coming from that last corner.
This team has done everything different than conventional wisdom all year long.
Yes.
So why would it be the case? Yeah, when you look at the other three crew chiefs, Paul Wolf a championship, Alan Gustafson a championship, Adam Stevens 2 championships, Phil Surgeon 2 wins.
Yeah.
As a crew chief. Now, but it's 2022.
Yeah.
And that those stats were not meant to knock Phil Surgeon, because Phil Surgeon keeps doing what he's doing, and he's going to add to that championship tally. Yeah. And he may start on Sunday. That's how good I believe. It's just. Paul Wolf, 432 starts. Alan Gustafson, 643 Cup starts. Adam Stevens, of the three, 280 starts. Phil Surgeon, 88. Mm-hmm. He has 192 less starts than the next closest guy. That, to me, is complimentary of Phil Surgeon. What you guys have done to go in there and go toe-to-toe with these veteran crew chiefs, toe-to-toe with these veteran drivers that have been here before as well, to set aside Christopher Bell. Mm-hmm. I just think what that team has done. But I agree with you. This is a different, going to championship weekend. You've been there. You've done it. You've watched it. You've been there. You've done it. You've won it, and you've not won it. This is a different animal.
It is. And there's lessons I learned out of 14 and lessons I learned out of 16 that played into us winning a championship in 18.
Yeah,
it's just how it works. It's not. I'm not.
Yeah.
Can they win a championship? Heck, yes, they can.
Yeah.
Heck, yes, they can. Of all the years, this is the year that you question what all notebooks tell you. But being in those situations, I think there's some calm that the other three crew chiefs can bring to their programs because of the championships they've won. Yeah. That I don't know if that same amount of calm can be exercised here because they've not been here.
Right.
But in a lot of ways, they don't know that there's pressure on them.
They haven't been in a lot of spots they've been in this year.
Right.
Which is cool.
I mean, nobody's been running the wall at Martinsville.
Yeah, they went to a spot at 75 years of Martinsville. They went to a spot on Sunday afternoon that no one went to. And I just feel like this is a team that, like, all the chips are in.
Yep.
And let's just see what we got.
Well, they're playing with house money, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody expected Trackhouse to be a playoff team, yet a championship 4 team.
I don't think Justin Marks. I think Justin Marks dreamed. I don't think he expected this at all. And so I think you're right. You're right. So good stuff. All right. So there you go. Cup Series breakdown.
Yeah.
NASCAR Xfinity Series going to roll on Saturday afternoon. We've got 4 drivers. First off, just big picture. 3 Junior Motorsports, 1 Gibbs. We talked about the whole Gibbs situation before. That dynamic in itself is unique.
Yes. Yeah, it definitely is. And I would, like I said before, with, when you've got teammates, I worry about that.
Yeah.
It dilutes the focus on things.
Right.
When there's multiple in it.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got 3.
3, exactly.
But they're racing against one that's got the field stacked against him.
Well, yeah, you've got, yeah, exactly.
He's not earned a lot of friends. And
okay, yeah. Noah Gragson, crew chief Luke Lambert, Junior Motorsports, a mind-boggling 8 wins this season, and most have been down the stretch. What's the case? What's the story here on that number 9 car?
5 wins in the last 9 races.
Yeah.
8 top 4s in the last 9 races.
Yeah.
I mean, they're on fire. They're turned on at the right time. They're in a great spot. They won the first Phoenix race in the spring,
right?
Which there's less. Cup side will look at it and say, new car, new situation. We've learned so much about racing this next-gen car since then. You don't know how much the notebook plays. The Xfinity car, same tire. There's a lot of the spring that still plays. So that's got to go back. The only question I've got with them is with Noah and Luke Lambert,
right,
both signing their deals to go Cup racing next year. Has that become a distraction?
Right.
Has the move and the thoughts, has that Has that new goal become a distraction from this goal? I don't think it has.
I don't think
but that'd
so
be
either.
the only thing I'd wonder about.
Scratching and clawing for a downside, you've got to scratch and dig for that to get to the downside. And actually, with Alex Bowman coming back, Noah is focused on one car this weekend, and that's the 9 car, and finishing strong there. Luke Lambert, the crew chief, 1 Cup win. Ryan Newman at Phoenix. So Luke is pretty stout out there, and has that car. Noah, they have 2 overall Phoenix wins in the Xfinity Series, including the spring of this year. Ty Gibbs, Joe Gibbs Racing, crew chief Chris Gale. Chris Gale has 3 wins out at Phoenix, but boy, they've got a mountain to climb. I think
they do. I think poor move last week put him in a tough spot. Chris Gale, Cup quality crew chief.
No doubt,
and that's a strength for them. Spring race they were 6th, not as good as probably they wanted to be. So that, but you also have to look. This is the organization that won both championships last year. We talked about the owners and drivers.
Yeah.
That's been kind of common in the Xfinity Series because of Cup guys coming back and driving things. Last year you had Ty couldn't run the whole season with a 54 because of his age.
So the 54
car actually won the Owners' Championship, and the 18 car with Daniel Hemrick won the Drivers' Championship. So JGR has been a perennial championship team. Yeah. He's got the organization behind him to do it. They know how to do it. Chris Gale knows how to do it. It's just, can they overcome what obstacles have been there?
And there's going to be obstacles. There's going to be a lot of cars difficult to pass.
Yes.
There's going to be a lot of cars difficult to pass. And I just... Stay tuned because
it should make some exciting racing.
It certainly will. That's for sure. Back to junior motorsports. Josh Berry, crew chief Mike Bumgarner. Mike has a win at Phoenix back in 2007 with Kyle Busch. Okay, so that goes back quite a way in the Wayback Machine. But this combination has been rock solid all year long. And so what's your take on Berry?
Yeah, I think in a great spot. Won Las Vegas and has had the pressure off the last 2 weeks, much like what we talked about out of Joey Logano. Differently, he's still got his teammates racing for it, much like what Joey did. But these guys have had 2 weeks to think about Phoenix and not have to worry about how they're going to get there. They already knew they were there, and I think that's a win for them. Third this spring. In the spring race. And let's face it, Josh Berry, his background short track racing. He's a great short track racer. He's made a huge impact out of the opportunity he's gotten out of JRM. He kind of came through their late model program, but he's a great racer. And this is the type of race that it takes a great racer. So I'm high on Josh.
Yeah.
I think again, house money, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
He's in a great spot, and I think he's a great spot to go forward. As you talked about, tons of experience on the box.
Yeah.
So
with Mike Bumgarner, yeah. I mean, Mike, 8 wins in the series, 129 starts, just knows the way around, knows the way to navigate races.
Yeah.
Just great stuff. Fourth driver in the Xfinity Series playoff, also from Junior Motorsports, Justin Allgaier, crew chief Jason Burdett. The case for, or against, if you will, but the case for Justin Allgaier in that number 7 car.
Yeah, I've been bringing it up, but, brought it up at Christopher Bell's situation. Won New Hampshire, right?
Yep, New Hampshire win. Yep.
Allgaier won New Hampshire. My impression of this 7 team is, and this goes back multiple years, but I'd say short tracks where shifting plays.
Yeah,
I feel like they've been really good at it.
Their strength. Yeah.
I feel like it. And they've won here in the past.
Yeah, this team, Jason Burdett and Justin Allgaier, have 2 wins at Phoenix together.
There you go. Yeah, I think so, and it's I think they've kind of been struggling to get to that point, right? Trying to put the whole thing together all year. Yeah. This may be their opportunity to do that.
Maybe their opportunity, and you look at Justin Allgaier. I mean, you want to talk about a scrappy veteran that's not made it to the top of the mountain. I have a hunch that if we get in the late stages and he's in that he's in that scrum, I have a hunch that Justin Allgaier becomes a pretty scrappy race car driver.
He did last week.
Yeah, he did. That's right, exactly. Yeah, he did. Yeah.
He did last week. And no disrespect.
No.
He was in a situation he needed to be in. He was.
Needed to be in.
Right?
He was. Yeah.
So, I think he and Allmendinger I think they had mutual conversation, like a good conversation post.
I was there. I'm interviewing Justin Allgaier, which is not the first time I've been in this situation with Justin I think it was Justin Allgaier. I was a junior motorsports driver at Watkins Glen where a fight broke out, and I could see it coming. I'm standing there talking to Justin Allgaier, and over behind I see AJ coming, and AJ, you couldn't tell his tone. He's his red face because he's been in a race car all day long. And I'm like, here we go. I'm got front and center seat because I'm interviewing him. And AJ come in and actually interrupted the interview, and they shook hands and congratulate each other on a great run and everything like that. But that was hard racing.
Yes.
Man, that was hard. Good hard racing.
Yes.
Good hard racing.
I mean, it's one of those things.
Yep.
The one drawback, I mean, and this one has a caveat, right? You've got 3 junior motorsports teams in here. So all of them are prepping. You talk about the practice pieces and stuff like that. They're all prepping their own game plans. And you can't ask your teammates to look at some things because they're doing their own program.
Right, absolutely.
So that's a little bit of a drawback, but you're racing against one car.
Yeah.
And one car that's got a mountain to overcome.
It's good to have everybody racing against them, racing hard against them. All right. Truck Series kicks it all off on Friday night, the Lucas Oil 150. What a season in the Truck Series. Yes. And let's start our breakdown with Ty Majeski, the first one to get locked in after that win at Bristol.
How about the win at Bristol and Homestead? Won 2 of the 3 races in the last round. Great momentum going forward. I would say that Ty's had speed and hasn't figured out how to finish it. I mean, for a long time. And all of a sudden, Bristol, they finished it off. And now he's done it two of the last 3 weeks.
Got a taste of it and liked it.
I put this a lot like Kyle Larson. Mm-hmm. Kyle Larson was one that I remember. I mean, this goes back in the mid-teens with Joey, right. But we're racing Kansas, and we've got Kyle Larson glued on the wall up there. And we're racing the wall, and he said, we're going to be racing him for a long time. And Kyle Larson went, I mean, even 10 races into last year, I remember a pit road reporter giving him a little jab because he'd had so many second-place finishes and so few wins. And he finally figured out how to do it. And, oh, my God, they loaded up behind that. I feel like Ty Majeski's in that same position. They've had speed. They just didn't know how to finish it. And now, like, the anxiety of that almost becomes overcoming. Did it at Bristol, did it at Homestead. I think the chip's off his shoulder. Now you can just see his speed coming forward. I think it's going to be pretty special to watch what happens here.
I think so too.
He's got a teammate in a championship 4. I think that plays against him.
When you look at it, and very limited experience out at Phoenix, although because he locked in, I've talked to Ty about this, because he locked in at Bristol, which was a month and a half ago.
Yeah, it's not just 2 weeks. They've had off weeks in between.
He has lived in the simulator right here in Concord. He came down for the Martinsville Late Model Stock Race. He came a day early to spend a day in the simulator. He had this event going on, this race, every time that there has been some travel, he has flown to Charlotte for a day on the simulator. So while it's limited experience at Phoenix, he's got a lot of seat time in the simulator, and this is just a short track racing. Man, he's a dynamo. He won the Snowball Derby 3 years ago, and I tweeted something about this. If some team in the top 3 doesn't have Ty Majeski in their vehicle, what are they thinking? That's how much I think. And it's good to see him getting an opportunity and then now cashing in on it.
And really going there and taking a job as a shop guy.
How bad do you want it?
With hoping that you'd have an opportunity to drive some and turn into this.
How bad do you want it? That's for sure. Zane Smith, Front Row Motorsports, crew chief Chris Lawson on this one. The case for Zane Smith.
Yeah, they've been really good all year.
Yeah,
our points champion, solid all year long, in contention most of the year, really good pace. Mm-hmm. I would say, you look at the 2 races that Ty's won, Zane's finished second to him.
Yeah.
Second at Bristol, second at Homestead. Talladega is the other race of that round. Kind of, I don't know. But 2 seconds. He's hoping to flip that around.
Yeah,
I would say going forward,
he'll take flipping that for this final one. Yeah.
Digging back through Zane, I didn't realize this, and this shows my Truck Series naivety. But this is his 3rd championship 4 in 3 years in the Truck Series.
Yeah.
He's made the championship 4 and finished second in 2020 and 2021.
Right.
He's been here, done that. I mean, you think about he's an up and comer, but he is an up and comer, but he's finished second in this playoff series twice. I think he's in a great spot.
Yeah.
I think he's a ton of talent. He's got a big future in front of him.
Yeah, he really does. Yeah, Zane Smith is rock star, that's for sure. The 3rd driver in the Final 4, let's go back to Thor Sport. Ben Rhodes, crew chief Rich Luscious. defending champions. But I don't know. I'm not seeing.
If I had to put money down on who's going to be fourth, I'd put money here. Right. And I hate that. I'm sorry, Ben. But looking at the things, last year's championship, I'd say the weakest of the four this year. Kind of snuck their way through, but I just haven't seen anything out of them that says they're going to put it together and make it happen. You have up and down years.
Their win was on Bristol dirt.
Yeah.
So that means nothing as far as this goes.
Right.
But they did it last year. They had a third place finish in this race last year, which got them the championship. One of the problems, and we'll shift to the next driver, Ben Rhodes finished third and won the championship. The driver who won this race last year wasn't in the playoff Final Four. He wins it this year, and it's a whole different story. That's Chandler Smith up at KBM.
Yeah, and I mean, to your point, last year's Phoenix winner, very aggressive, done a great job. He's the only KBM truck left. And there's got to be something between, this is KBM kind of going from being the Toyota, stable to transition to whatever they're going to, what their program's going to be with Chevrolet next year. So I think there's got to be some pride in trying to send this thing off in the right way. I think, Chandler won at Richmond, and I've used the Worldwide Technology. He ran third at Worldwide Technology Raceway out there in St. Louis. So I won here last year. I don't know. I don't think I'm not as high on him as I am Ty Majeski, but I expect him to run up there.
Yeah, I think so too. When I look at this, and Danny Stockman is crew chief, a two-time champion, won in the Truck Series and Xfinity Series with Austin Dillon. So it, back in 11 and 13, I think it was. But winning championships, when you go win a championship, you've been through the rigors of it. Mm-hmm. You've been through it. The one thing I always love, I try to do little things. The crew chiefs on this Truck Series are fascinating to me. You've got three guys. Ben Rhodes, crew chief Rich Luscious, 70 starts. Zane Smith's crew chief Chris Lawson, 71 starts. Chandler Smith, crew chief Danny Stockman. Now, we've talked about it. He's had a lot of time in Xfinity Series, but only 115 Truck Series starts. So what's that? 266. Joe Shear, over with Ty Gibbs, has 330 starts, and championship as well with Johnny Sauter. That's the grizzled old veteran and the young kid getting together and showing that format, that can work, and it's working really, really well.
And Joe's always found speed.
Yeah, always.
You look at all the years with Johnny, he's always found speed. Always. Which it shows. It shows here too, right?
Yep.
They've had speed and
learning the finer
they're learning
parts.
how to put the whole thing together and at the right time.
No doubt, at the right time. So there you have it. Cup Series, Xfinity, Truck Series, a breakdown. We'll be back. More Crew Call presented by Flow Racing in just a moment. Welcome back. It is Crew Call presented by Flow Racing, the home of NASCAR Roots. And, by the way, on the NASCAR Roots package, Steve Post and Todd Gordon here on the NASCAR Roots. I was talking to some people. It looks like they're going to be it's going to be the expanded home of NASCAR Roots next year. It was the new home of NASCAR Roots. It looks like they've got some pretty big plans.
That's awesome.
Which is exciting. It really is. So you can find out more at flowracing.com/GoMRN, flowracing.com/MRN. Phoenix this weekend, busy weekend on Motor Racing Network, including 3 broadcasts on Friday. We kick it off with the ARCA Menards West Series Championship Round, 2:30 Eastern Time, the Desert Diamond Casino West Valley, 150. That rolls right off.
You got it out.
Like Worldwide Racing Technology Park.
That one's killing me.
Yeah, well, Desert Diamond Casino West Valley, 150. That's at 2:30 Eastern Time. 8 o'clock Eastern Time, Cup Series practice, a standalone practice session. This 50-minute practice session we talked about. That's going to be fascinating. And at 9:30 Eastern Time, the Lucas Oil 150 for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. Coming up on Saturday, we practice the Cup cars on Friday. At 3:30 Eastern Time, we qualify the Cup cars. So 3:30 NASCAR Cup Series qualifying, 5:30 the NASCAR Xfinity Series Championship Race, 5:30 Eastern Time. And on Sunday, 1 o'clock Eastern Time, it is the NASCAR Cup Series Championship Round. Todd, the season has just flown by, and here we are headed for a championship.
Yeah, Yeah, it has. It seemed like it was always had all this coming out. We've got one left. It's going to be a heck of a show this weekend, and really look. I mean, all three battles. Actually, I don't know about the ARCA West.
Yeah, the ARCA West series
piece, but that's going to be a heck of a show to kick the weekend off.
The ARCA West series. And I've had the kids. The kid drives the Ducati number 6 car and missed the championship last year, and I am total brain fade on this one, so shame on me. But we're going to have a good race there. The ARCA West Series is fun racing. They really put on a show. And that field is loaded up with all kinds of weird, oddball, great talent. You know, like Landon Pembleton, the guy that won the Martinsville late model race from Virginia, is out in Phoenix getting ready. That'd be cool. It's fun stuff. It really
That'd be cool.
It really is good stuff.
I mean, all 3 days, I think it's going to be great races. The racetrack, I was down on Phoenix back in when they first made this transition. The traction compound has made it better,
right?
And I like the fact that the track and NASCAR have listened. They're going to apply a little bit of it in 3 and 4. They're not going to apply it to 1 and 2 because they didn't want it to be the preferred lane.
Yeah,
they're moving a little bit higher in 3 and 4. It makes that place pretty racy, and look forward to what we can do around the bottom, up in the traction compound, the runs that you get off of it. As the runs go on, getting up into it in 3 and 4, it's going to be fun to watch. It's a great event. That dog leg and the restarts coming across that dog leg.
Oh gosh, hang on.
Yeah,
hang on. Going to be fun, that's for sure. Motor Racing Network will be there all weekend long. He is Todd Gordon. I am Steve Post, and we appreciate you joining us here on Crew Call, presented by Flow Racing, the home of NASCAR roots and the ultimate dirt track. More information at flowracing.com. We'll see you at Phoenix.